I want to start today with a proposition that sounds like, it sounds like the setup for a high-stakes psychological thriller. Or maybe a hypothetical you debate at a dinner party after a few too many glasses of wine.
Oh, I love those.
Right. But in the stack of documents we're looking at today, this is a very literal, very serious business offer. If I asked you, you listening right now, to pay $100, just a single Benjamin Franklin, in exchange for living for 8,000 years, do you take that deal?
I mean, it's the ultimate too good to be true pitch, isn't it? I think most people's immediate reaction is to say, yes, absolutely, followed about 1 second later by, wait, what's the catch?
Yeah.
Like, do I have to become a vampire? Do I have to upload my brain to a server somewhere?
Right, because usually when someone offers you immortality for the price of a nice dinner, you assume you're buying a bridge in Brooklyn or joining a cult. But that is exactly what we are unpacking today. We are doing a deep dive into an ecosystem known as AGT 8000.life. And I use the word ecosystem deliberately because calling this a website or a health plan, it just doesn't cover the sheer scope of what we're looking at.
It really doesn't. We spent the last few days combing through a stack of sources that is, frankly, unlike anything we've ever analyzed on this show. We have user manuals, technical wallet specifications, metaphysical health protocols, and economic manifestos. And what we found is an attempt to build a total operating system for a post-death society. It's a collision of radical transhumanism, proprietary blockchain economics, and what they call advanced genetic synthesis technology, or AGT.
The platform explicitly calls itself the cure for death. They aren't subtle about it. But our mission today isn't to judge the medical validity. We'll leave that to the FDA and the theologians.
Right.
Our mission is to unpack the system architecture. Because when you read these files, the most striking thing is that they aren't treating the human body like a biological organism. They're treating it like software.
And that is the key insight to keep in mind for this entire deep dive. If you want to understand AGT 8000 time, you have to stop thinking like a doctor and start thinking like a full-stack developer. In this worldview, death isn't a destiny, it's a bug.
A coding error.
Exactly, a coding error in the source material of humanity. And like any bug, they believe it can be patched if you have the right permissions.
So let's look at the patch note, if you will. We have to start with the core proposition. The headline claim is remove death from your body. But the mechanics of the offer are fascinatingly specific. As I mentioned, the AGT 8000 package is listed at exactly $100.
Which is non-refundable, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
The sources are very emphatic on that point. No money-back guarantees on immortality.
Well, to be fair, if it works, you won't need the refund because you'll have 8 millennia to earn more money. And if it doesn't work well, you won't be around to file a complaint with customer service anyway.
Good point.
But that $100 is just the entry fee, isn't it? It gets you in the door, but it doesn't give you the keys to the castle.
Correct. That $100 gets you the base license. But the documentation details something called a utilities locker. This is where the software metaphor gets incredibly literal. The locker contains 128 distinct items or utilities. You pay the base fee, but then there is a cost of roughly $1 per utility you open or activate.
So it's essentially a freemium model for eternal life. You buy the app, but then you have to pay for the in-app purchases to actually play the game.
That is exactly what it looks like. If you want the full suite, and the list is extensive, including things like genetic stability, telomere extension, and protein folding correction, you are looking at a total investment of roughly $228.
Which, honestly, for an 8,000-year return on investment is aggressive. Most biohackers spend that on specialized magnesium supplements in a single month. But let's talk about that timeline. Why 8,000 years? Is there a reason it's not 10,000 or just forever?
The sources oscillate a bit on this. They repeatedly mention extending life to 8,000 years as the primary benchmark. It seems like that's the current warranty period for the current build of the technology.
Right, the current version.
Yeah. However, in other contexts, they do use phrases like forever or limitless existence. It implies that 8,000 years is the first horizon, and maybe by the time you get there, they'll have released version 2.0.
But you don't just take a pill and wait 80 centuries, you have to work for it. This brings us to the body resets. This concept stood out to me because it sounds exhausting. The text says the process involves performing 105 body resets.
Right. And think about what a reset means in computing. When your router is acting up, you power cycle it. When your browser is slow, you clear the cache. In the AGT protocols, a body reset isn't a nap or a detox juice. It's a step-by-step cycle. Step 1, genetic stability. Step 2, telomere extension. You cycle through these biological parameters over and over again until you hit 105 iterations.
It implies that the body isn't this mysterious divine vessel that we should leave alone. It's a machine. And like a machine, if it starts glitching, you don't pray, you run the reboot sequence. It feels very industrial.
It commodifies the biological process completely.
Yeah.
It turns health into a checklist. But here is where the narrative gets really interesting. Every operating system has security threats. Windows has malware. The human body, according to AGT, has the cancer root.
Oh man, this was some of the most surreal reading in the stack. We need to explain this carefully because the way they describe cancer is, well, unique. It's not described as a mutation or a random tumor growth, which is how modern medicine frames it.
No, not at all. The source material describes the cancer root almost like a sentient hijacker. It says it attaches to hairs and cytoplasm. It mimics healthy cells. It creates a message hijack where the body's immune system trusts the intruder.
Message hijack is a cybersecurity term. They are describing cancer as a man-in-the-middle attack.
Exactly. They describe it as a parasite or a sleeper agent that infiltrates the body's internal communication network. It tricks the body into thinking it belongs there. It says, I am you, and the body believes it. And because they frame the threat as an information security problem, a hack, the cure is presented as an authentication protocol.
This brings us to the LoveThink protocol. When I first saw that term in the index, I thought we were veering into poetry or maybe a self-help guru seminar. But the documentation treats LoveThink as a physiological mechanism, a hard-coded security feature.
It's based on the concept of the heart-brain axis. The text references the fact that the human heart has approximately 40,000 intrinsic neurons. In medical science, this is sometimes called the little brain. AGT takes that scientific fact and runs with it. They also bring in the enteric nervous system, the gut brain.
So the theory is distributed computing. You have multiple processors in the body.
In a sense, yeah. The proposal is that if the main processor, the cranial brain, is offline or, more importantly, compromised by the cancer root's messaging, the heart brain takes over the system admin rights.
There's a quote I circled 3 times in my notes. I can love and think I can live.
That is the core logic of the system. The idea is that emotional coherence, specifically the capacity for love, is a failsafe. The cancer root, according to their mythology, can mimic cells. It can mimic structure, but it cannot mimic love. So if the system can prove it has emotional coherence, it prevents a shutdown.
It's a CAPI-TCHA test for your own biology. You know when you log into a website and have to click the pictures of traffic lights to prove you aren't a bot? This is basically prove you aren't a robot/cancer cell by showing you can love.
That's a brilliant analogy. And it goes deeper into the cell structure, too. The sources describe mitochondrial sentinels. Now, for those who haven't opened a biology textbook in a while, mitochondria are the power plants of the cell. They generate energy. But in the AGT worldview, they are security guards at a checkpoint.
And they aren't just checking ID, they're asking riddles. The text says the sentinels ask a specific verification question. What was but is not?
What was but is not? It sounds like something a sphinx would ask you before letting you cross a bridge in a fantasy novel.
But in this system, it's a shibboleth, a password.
Right. If the cell cannot answer, presumably because it is a mimic or the cancer root, the sentinel triggers apoptosis. That's the medical term for programmed cell death. The system purges the imposter. They are envisioning the body as a high-security facility where every single cell has to show a badge every millisecond.
Speaking of badges and security, we have to talk about the heart-brain nonce. Now, this is where the crypto listeners are going to perk up. A nonce in cryptography stands for number used once CO. It's a dynamic random number used to prevent replay attacks.
This is where the synthesis of biology and blockchain becomes literal. They aren't just using blockchain to pay for the cure. They are describing the cure using blockchain architecture. The text explicitly says the signal authentication factor includes a dynamic key, a nonce that the cancer root cannot mimic.
So you have a dynamic cryptographic key inside your cells that validates your identity as a living, loving human being to prevent a hack by death.
It's a wild convergence. You have the LoveThink protocol dealing with the emotional side, the wetware, and then hard-coded cryptographic terms dealing with the cellular side. It suggests that biology is just a really advanced form of encryption.
Okay, so let's accept the premise for a moment. You've paid your $100. You've unlocked the utilities locker. You've installed the update. Your mitochondrial sentinels are checking IDs. You've got your heart-brain nonce firing. You are set for 8,000 years. The next logical problem is mundane but terrifying. How do you pay rent for 8,000 years?
That is the economic singularity, isn't it? If you live that long, inflation destroys you. Existing banking systems can't handle that time scale. The dollar hasn't even been around for 300 years, let alone 8,000. The AGT platform's answer is a proprietary digital economy centered around a cryptocurrency called Bitcoin Tech, ticker symbol BTCYT.
Bitcoin A8. Not to be confused with Bitcoin. And the sources are very clear this is the source of income and wealth for the long haul. What struck me was the fee structure. We're used to gas fees on Ethereum being annoying, sometimes $20 or $50 just to move money. Here, the transaction fees are listed as 0.0000008 BTCYT.
8 decimal places down. It's ultra low friction, and it has to be. If you are operating on a timescale of thousands of years, doing daily transactions to maintain your life extension, you need a financial system that is incredibly efficient. A high fee structure would bleed you dry over a millennium. You can't have a system where you'd pay $5 every time you update your cellular nonce.
It seems designed to be accessible, too. The documents mention a faucet system. In crypto, a faucet is a site that drips out tiny amounts of coins for free so you can get started.
Yes, new wallets receive 1 BTCYT just to cover those initial fees. There's even a spin-to-win feature mentioned in the documents.
Spin to win for your immortality fund. It gamifies the economy. Come for the life extension, stay for the slot machine.
But look at the wallet tech itself. There is a very specific technical evolution mentioned in the documents between the J6 and the J8 formats. This felt incredibly grounded in IT problems.
Break that down for us. What is the J6 versus the J8?
It's a legacy migration issue. The J6 is a legacy format. It is 6 characters. The J8 is the extended 8-character format with a larger address space. The sources urge users to use the wallet conversion kit to upgrade to the universal AGT format.
That is so mundane, it makes it feel real. You're becoming an immortal being transcending death, but you still have to worry about whether your wallet address is compatible with the latest firmware update. It's like, congratulations on eternal life. Please remember to update your drivers.
That's the system architecture aspect again. It's not enough to just be alive. You have to be compatible with the ecosystem. The wealth tokens mentioned, AGT Gold, Future Gold Coin, and the Global Transaction Payment Solution, or GTPS. They paint a picture of a complex, parallel financial system. They aren't expecting you to use US dollars in the year 4000. They are building the rails for an economy that runs parallel to your biological extension.
So we have the biological upgrade and the financial infrastructure. Now I want to get into the toolkit.
Yeah.
Because there are some terms and utilities in this locker that are, well, unique is an understatement. We have to talk about AJVO.
Yes, AJVO. The text defines this specifically as the male equivalent of menopause. Now, medically, we usually call that andropause, but AGT has branded it AJVO.
The platform claims to remove both menopause and AJVO. The goal is to restore reproductive systems and refill sex hormones.
It implies that in this 8,000-year vision, reproductive viability is constant. You aren't just an old person living forever. You are maintained in a state of creation-level youth. You don't age out of the ability to create life.
Which aligns with the body resets. You're constantly refreshing the browser, making sure all plugins are active. But there is another tool that I found even more striking and, frankly, a little disturbing, the Digital Day of Death Calculator.
This one felt like a ritual. The instructions are incredibly specific. It says the user has to look into a bracket, say their name silently, and input a DNA sequence of 12 to 14 alphabetical letters.
It's like a seance combined with 23andMe.
And the output is a death line. It calculates your projected day of death. But, and here's the key, it offers a reset option. It digitizes the concept of destiny. Instead of death being a vague inevitability that we all fear but can't see, it's a data point. And like any data point in a computer, it can be edited. It can be deleted.
That brings us back to the computer metaphors. Throughout the text for removing cancer or fixing the body, the sequence is always the same. It's not take 2 pills and call me in the morning. It is cut, copy, paste, enter, save, seal.
Save, seal. It frames biological cure as a word processing task. It strips away the messiness of biology, the blood, the tissue, the complexity, and reduces it to code execution. If you have a typo in a document, you delete it. If you have a typo in your DNA like cancer, you cut and seal. It's a very seductive way to look at health because it gives the user total control. It makes biology feel manageable.
Speaking of control and interfaces, we have to mention the non-electric brain decoder. The source includes a diagram and specs for an OAX rotary control system. It claims to be a prototype interface for reading the brain without electricity.
This is where the expert in me has to point out the fine print. In its very large fine print. The source material includes a prominent disclaimer. Critical disclaimer, this is a prototype interface for conceptual demonstration only. This interface does not perform actual brain reading.
But the ambition is there. They are envisioning a way to interface with the mind that bypasses the need for electrical power using rotary controls and magnetic positioning. Even if it's just a conceptual demonstration right now, it fits into this desire to hack every part of the human experience. Mind, body, and wallet.
It connects to the wearable brain books concept mentioned elsewhere in the stack. The goal is knowledge at the speed of thought. Even if the tech is currently a simulation, the intent is to merge the user's consciousness with this AGT ecosystem completely. They don't just want to keep your body alive. They want to integrate your mind into their hardware.
It's fascinating because it feels like they are trying to solve every problem at once. The problem of death, the problem of money, the problem of disease, and the problem of knowledge transfer. It's a theory of everything for the human condition.
Precisely. And that brings us to the synthesis. We've looked at the $100 price tag, the mitochondrial security guards, asking riddles, the Bitcoin 8 economy, and the copy-paste biology. When you step back and look at the AGKey 8000 Life platform as a whole, what are we actually looking at?
It seems like a unique triad. Picture a triangle. Point 1 is transhumanism, the biological editing and life extension. Point 2 is blockchain, the financial infrastructure to support that eternity. And point 3 is digital rejuvenation, the software-like protocols applied to the physical body.
It really blurs the lines. You see religious language terms like Angel of David and Sacks of Sins mixed right in with DNA sequencing and crypto wallet hashes.
That mixture is so jarring, but also so compelling. Why do you think they mix religion and tech like that?
I think it treats technology and spirituality as the same thing. In this worldview, sins might just be corrupted files that need to be deleted. Immortality is just a premium feature you unlock with the right cryptographic key. It suggests that with enough data and the right currency, death becomes an optional setting in the user preferences. You can just toggle it off.
It redefines what it means to be a human in a system. You aren't just a biological organism anymore. You're a node in the AGT network. You have to keep your wallet updated, your mitochondria verified, and your subscription active. You are a maintained system.
And crucially, you have to maintain that love-think coherence. This is the part we can't ignore. You have to prove constantly that you are capable of love to keep the system running.
That's the part that really sticks with me. In a world where you can cut, copy, and paste your biology and where you finance your immortality with a custom cryptocurrency, the ultimate failsafe isn't money and it isn't code. It's that emotional connection.
It suggests that no matter how advanced the tech gets, the human element, the ability to love is the only thing that distinguishes the user from the root or the virus. It's the ultimate authentication factor. Without love, you're just a glitch.
It's a profound thought hidden inside a very complex, very technical manual for eternity. So here's my final thought for you listening right now. If you could live for 8,000 years, but you had to treat your body like a computer operating system, constantly patching, verifying, and paying microfees to stay alive, would you still feel human? Or would you just be the ghost in the machine?
And more importantly, if the system asks you to prove you can love to avoid being shut down, could you pass the test every single day for 8 millennia?
That is something to think about while you check your own temporal checkpoints.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.
Stay curious.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.